Panther people, what up? 2026 NFL mock draft and the Panthers. Oof. If they're picking at this spot, we're in trouble. But I watch Panthers Post. Thanks for joining. Just a recap for those who are new here. I'm Phil. I talk about the Carolina Panthers. And this month, I'm off work for parental leave. I'm being a dad of two boys. We left the city, and I'm going to be doing Panthers content at least every other day. Max. Every single day. Maybe twice a day. Maybe they do a trade for TJ Watt or something like that. I'll have 2 videos a day. My brother who makes the thumbnails is going to be busy, and that's going to be tough because he just broke his middle finger in half. So you don't play rugby at 36. Or you do, for the glory. Anyways, try and do videos every single day. Sometimes it's going to be real news. Sometimes it's going to be, some fluffy stuff. It's kind of the way the NFL season works. So ESPN, knowing it's bread and butter when it comes to NFL fans, especially the sickos out there like yours truly, we love a mock draft, even in beginning of July. That's what we're all about. And so they released a way too early 2026 mock draft. And I think they had Clayton Kubnik being picked up by the Cleveland Browns. So obviously the Shedeur Sanders thing didn't work out. The Dylan Gabriel thing didn't work out. They're all gone. And they got Clay Kubnik out of University of Clemson. That's not what I'm talking about here. What I want to talk about, and firstly, I want to reiterate that they got the standings of the draft order, based on basically power rankings from the 2025 season. So not 2020, well, I guess, is this the 2025 season? I guess it is. So whoever did this index on the power rankings, they're not giving Bryce Young any love. They're not giving the offensive line any love. They're not getting the improved defensive line any love. They're not giving Dave Canales any love, or Dan Morgan, or Brant Tillis. They probably still pissed off that David Tepper threw a drink at a fan in Jacksonville. So the Panthers, according to this index, they are predicting that the Panthers will be picking 6th overall. Worse, higher, or lower, which one are we looking at? Higher on the list than they did this year. They picked at 8. So they're suggesting the Panthers, who I believe had 5 wins this past year, are going to finish worse. Now, I don't know if the league will be super competitive and then, getting 7 or 8 wins will somehow still get you the 6th overall pick. I don't know about that. But if the Panthers are picking 6th overall after this year, I do not expect Dan Morgan to be picking that player, or Dave Canales coaching that player, or Bryce Young throwing to that player, or even being in the same lunchroom as that player. Right now, the Panthers are riding this wave. You can't feel it. Panther fans have been feeling it for a while. It's starting to hit the other ones, the national media, the ones that don't talk about the Panthers every single day because they have to talk about everybody else, even though they still know more than all of us. It's just starting to hit. I'm starting to see, Dan Orlovsky from ESPN has been hot and heavy about the Panthers for a while. He almost worked for the Panthers, we all remember. But, out of all the guys in the draft class, in Bryce Young and CJ Stroud's draft class, and even this one, the one after that, the one who's going to take the biggest jump, he said Bryce Young, without even hesitation. Rich Eisen, who's got the national radio show and going to be going to ESPN, was at NFL Network for the longest time, talks about NFL for a living every single day. He's pretty in tune. He talks to beat reporters all the time on his show. He has the Carolina Panthers as a dark horse playoff contender coming up. That means more than 5 wins. That does not mean less than 5 wins. That means you are pushing in the NFC South. The Saints going to be forgotten. The Falcons, I don't believe in them, even though I'm scared of Michael Penix. And you still got the Buccaneers. Who knows what can happen? 3rd offensive coordinator in 3 years. Maybe they just have the culture. Maybe there's something in the water in Florida, and they still win the division. But I think the Panthers are going to be competitive. And now we're not just talking to an echo chamber. It's other groups saying the same thing. And so if, for some reason, the Panthers are picking 6th overall in the draft, Canales is gone, Dan Morgan's gone, Bryce is gone. Because even if Bryce got hurt and they have 4 wins, 3 wins, that's durability now a problem. You got to think about, are you going to give him an extension, his 5th-year extension, whatever it is? And with a QB class like this one, you got your Klubnik, you got your Drew Alar, you got your Neuheisler out of LSU. You got him. You got the cat Sellers out of South Carolina. And you got no Arch Manning. I think he's going to stay. I don't think he's going to come out next year. But all those guys, at least they got the size thing over Bryce. if we're still going to be talking about that, because if they're losing, that's what they're going to talk about. If the Panthers are that bad, I still can't fathom it right now. I truly cannot fathom the Panthers being that bad. And I'm a homer, absolutely. But just the way this draft went about and the consensus A's, unless you're Mel Kiper, who gave the Panthers a C+, like Tetra McMillan would have to drop every single ball thrown his way. Friggin' Chuba Hubbard has got to gain negative 20 yards per play. Rico Dowdle has to somehow tear his hammy in the first day. Bryce Young would have to suddenly get the yips, like getting too comfortable, going to the Fanatics Fest, doing all these interviews, not really. Xavier Leggett would have to just regress to a point where he's Jonathan Mingo 2.0. Robert Hunt would have to forget how to block. What else? Friggin' the defense would have to get even worse, even though they added so much talent, so many bodies. Derek Brown would suddenly become a squishmallow. Like, so many things would have to go wrong for the Panthers to get less wins than this year. And so many things went wrong last year. And to start, like, Bryce Young's here because our backup quarterback got into a car crash. If it wasn't for that, it'd still be the Andy Dalton show, potentially. But it can't get worse than that. And there is a reality where that last couple games last year were maybe not an anomaly. Maybe other teams that were making the playoffs, probably taking the Panthers a little lightly, including the eventual Super Bowl champion Eagles. And the Panthers look better than what they were. But I really do think the additions that they made on defense, plus Derek Brown coming back healthy, plus Rico Dowdle on offense, plus Tetra McMillan and Mitch Evans, even though he's a rookie, they're two rookies. You're really putting that much pressure on rookies, but also just another year of being in the pros. And Bryce Young, he looks seasoned. He actually looks taller. If you take a look at his rookie year compared to now, like he's still not even 25. Like he looks taller and he looks bigger. And maybe he has PTSD. I don't know, but he looks more experienced. And I just can't see this team regress. I can only see this team going up. So I don't know what that index is, ESPN. Maybe they know Panther fans are thirsty for mock drafts and we'd be clicking the hell out of that like I did. But I think the Panthers are going to be picking in like the teens. Like I think they're going to make the wild card. So I don't know where that puts them in the draft order, but I'm being selfish. I think they're going to be in prime Harold Perkins draft position come draft time. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think 6 is ridiculous to be drafting in next year's draft? Or do you think that's about right? And if you do, why? See you guys literally tomorrow.